Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. It is time for the America's Tier 1 Racing, and it is time for the British Grand Prix. We're here for the Silverstone Racing Week, of course. Round 7 of MRL Season 5 action. Joining me tonight, not Seb from the Land Down Under, of course. However, it is a voice that many should very well be familiar with. It is Mr. Alejandro Bitto. Welcome, Mr. Bitto.
Hello, everyone. It's been a couple of weeks there out, but of course, happy again to be back. This time with Americas, not the first time I've commented in this one, and I'm very happy to be back.
Well, it's a very, very fun and exciting division to commentate, to say the least. And let's take a look at the circuit now, as it's Great Britain, Silverstone. You should know it, and if you don't know it, get to know it. 5.891 kilometers, the track distance. Very iconic Formula One circuit, and that's why, of course, you need to know. You need to be on that first name basis. Silverstone and you need to have a little bit of an education session, and this race doesn't do you any justice. Well, there's a ton of Formula One history that'll do it justice, I'm sure. Now, next week we move on through to Azerbaijan, round 8. Following that, we have Hungary. Then we have Singapore, round 10. Then we have a break week. Following that, we go to France, then Spain, Austria, Mexico, and the finale in Brazil. Look at the standings briefly, as there is a nice championship fight unfolding. You can see it there. There was a changeover last week between Lucas Yan and Beckyb. Lucas Yan now in charge of things. The current title holder is Beckyb, but now he is on the back leg as Lucas Yan takes a 10-point lead after Beckyb's unfortunate retirement. Very dramatic race, and TJ Spin now 63 points in third position. Microlander Seagoss tight by 5. Rhapsody there as well. It's a very, very good grid, a very fast grid, and we have, of course, today, Mr. Microlander joining us in a full-time capacity with that 48. Sorry. His points are attributed to him as a result of his reserve capacity, not his attribution. With that, we are ready to go racing for 26 laps of intensity around Silverstone.
This is going to be really interesting. We've seen, of course, last week a lot of action with that rain. It was raining, but of course it wasn't slick. So, of course, you can imagine the chaos that we can have there, the mayhem that we had last week on Suzuka. And Gabox took that win, if I'm not mistaken, the first win for the Chilean driver, and the first points it was for him. So first points, first win. There's Gabox on P10 on the championship, and he will try to the best, of course, today. But of course, you can't improve a P1, so we'll see what he can do. And of course, as you said, Beckyb having that unfortunate disqualification on Suzuka that put him on the last place, while Lucas Yan, who crossed first, got a penalty after a review from the stewards with an incident with Angel Cordova, and it seems like he finished, I think, 5th place, and now the championship gap is only 10 points, so it can change again today.
Oh yeah, definitely can. Given the intensity we've seen from these drivers, Lucas Yan, Beckyb last week out. Lucas Yan started that race in a very good position, then he fell back, had to climb through the grid again, get himself into position, take that lead. Beckyb. Of course, Beckyb had to watch him do it, and there was a moment where Beckyb was like, yes, yes, and it went from excitement that the championship might stay stationary out in front. Now what 10 points out in front for. Now with everybody loading into the session, being on a couple of drivers, we have, I do believe, 20 racers to come with us into Silverstone. A couple of reserves with us this evening, which is great to see, and thank you to all the reserves who come through and participate.
Yes, we have some change of names. I think there Pablo, who might be Benito Casquitas, I would say. Casquita Benitez, but just changing his first name now to Pablo. Loading into the session Ricky Charles, we had it last week as well. But he had an unfortunate race. He tried to play with something different but the intermediates didn't work with the conditions. And we'll see what he can do today. Of course, Noji from the community. It was before I was here, and I think probably the same age as you there, the same era.
Well, he's very, very much one of the people who pushed me to do the commentaries on with second Grove in the second season. Well, waiting on him to tab in right now. I'm not too sure what's going on with him. Back in. All right. Seconds now counting down, so whether he's ready or not, we are going to be going with him.
There we go. The timing is going down as we are loading into the session. Ooh, it's a little bit dark. Doesn't seem like will be enough for any drops of rain, at least at the moment. But it looks like a very, very cloudy sky here on England, as let's say as always. But everyone, it seems like, will be studying on the softs or mediums, as Angel just changed there on P8 to the mediums. Johnny Masson as well.
Alrighty.
Should be good now.
I think the mic's okay now. We'll have to see over the course of the race, but I appreciate you letting me know there was an issue in the chat, everybody. And of course, MKB equal Angel, Bautista, Bauma, Pablo, Casquito. Thank you, Gazieg, in the chat for that. Everybody heading out now. The Red Bull MKB looking like he may just be first to do so.
Yeah, it would seem with the mediums trying something different. I don't think the strategy might be good to try with starting mediums stint. I think the softs and mediums might be the easiest one and probably the one that everyone wants to pick. Even if you start outside the top 10, probably softs and mediums could be good, because if the safety car comes really early and you start with the mediums, either you put the hards to the end, which are not a good tire here, or you have to stretch the softs, or to pit later after the safety car. So we'll see how it works if you want to start with these mediums, but normally when you want to start with a tire, you don't put it at the beginning of the qualifying. So probably it's just testing a little bit the grip out there, because it seems a little bit overcast. So we'll see what he does.
I'm wondering if we're going to see any rain. I don't believe we will. I think it'll be a dry forecast given the speed at which everybody left the pit lane. At the very least, mostly dry.
Light raining 45 minutes into the race. Gaziek is saying to us, dry to wet race. So that's going to be interesting. The safety car comes before those 45 minutes, because of course the rain will come before and we will have more rain if, of course, the rain pours down here in Silverstone, as MKV is preparing his lap.
We've only had one safety car out of the 3 races that we've had this week in Silverstone. Now MKB pushing out of club to begin the lap. Now we push through into turn 1, Abbey. And he will want to keep things as tight as he can to the curb on the entry now as he comes through into turn 3, pushing through the loop. Flying through Aintree into the Wellington Straight. Medium compound tires.
Really difficult to put the traction down, as you can see there. He was really struggling, but still really keeping it tight.
Left field now. Very, very important area. Very important to get the power down. He gets it down perfectly, and so you can go wheel to wheel through there. You don't want to get caught up wheel to wheel. You can see a lot of drivers having issues when they come up on the inside. The outside as well. You can really get shaken up on the curb. Come through Maggots, Beckett's, Apple.
Looks like a really, really tidy lap. Of course, we'll do it with the medium, so of course we can improve that one with the softs. Now, short shifting to 4th gear, utilizing that curve on the outside. Now trying to put the shortest round now to the line. It's at 27.4 as the first lap here. As I think one of the drivers invalidated and went to the pits. I think it was one of the Alpines. Now Rhapsody 26.8, it's 6 tenths faster right now. The Mercedes driver, his teammate Lucas Yan, just the leader of the championship, starting a lap.
A lot of drivers on runs right now. Lucas Yan, as you mentioned, starting. Beckyb a little bit further along. A lot of eyes on Beckyb tonight to bounce back in that championship fight. 10 points separating him and the Mercedes.
Pablo Benitez now on third sector, just going into Bale chicane, turn 16 and 17 as J-Spin improves that time from Rhapsody 4 tenths even better, 26.4. Benitez jumps into 27.3 and third position, just ahead of the Mexican.
Solid stuff coming out of the drivers, now pushing times to the line as Siffy comes through at 26.903. Beckyb now, where will he land? He goes third quickest to 26.831, just 1/100th of a second on the rear of Rhapsody. More drivers pushing through now as Batista Mateo starts a run. Maxim B, 27.844 from the Red Bull. Melee, 7th position, 27.316.
Microlander now crossing the line to P2. It's 3 tenths difference between P1 and P2 at the moment. Of course, only half of the returning the lap, and Lucas Yan, look at that lap time.
Wow. Just shy of 2/10 the separation between Lucas and TJ Spin. Very, very fast Mercedes today.
He always likes to be on the top now as we have a yellow flag, and I think that's Batista Mateo having a spin on the S's. No, not Batista Mateo, sorry, but...
Sales pushing through into 6th position. Sorry to interrupt you there, Alex. Rez invalidates out of Stowe on his way into the pit lane. Unsure if he was intentionally on his way into the pit lane ahead of that or not.
Benitez was the incident that we saw there. Yellow flags again, but it's, I think, someone letting by a driver flying. And that driver flying is Batista Mateo, actually, with the mediums trying to set a lap. Now on Bale chicane, 16 and 17, hugging that inside curb. Now putting the traction really, really difficult, and even more with those mediums, as we said. It's P14 for him at the moment.
Our drivers, Galax G, he had issues on his outrun, or at the very least on whatever opportunity he was on at a lap. He had an issue where we saw him on the side of the circuit in the grass. Stoltz, he will be on the way in after setting 27.271 in the Alfa Romeo behind Jacob. 7th position for Jacob, 26.896. This is a little bit of a calm before the storm. CEST is in the Haas. Most times on the board set with the softs, of course. A few drivers setting on the mediums. CEST is one of them. He's actually on the mediums again at the moment.
Yes, he's just putting mediums again, starting a lap. Ricciardo invalidating that lap, but is still trying to push as much as he can. Batista Mateo still with the mediums. I don't know if he will be improving on this second sector. Yes, he's 1/10 green, but I don't know if he will be finishing this attempt or just jumping into the pits and putting new softs. We will see what he does. Right now, the last driver to qualify there is a P14. Out of P14, let's say. Still 6 drivers to set a lap here.
Johnny through Maggots, Beckett's Chapel. Very quick right now.
Now into Stowe. He really needs to hug that inside curb. Look at that. But not going wide, as he will be invalidating if he does that. But now breaking the 100-meter board. Going to Bill chicane again. Same procedure as always. Really caution on traction. Into before he goes, the AlphaTauri, just behind Microlander.
Very solid push there. Very solid push there from the AlphaTauri. CEST now in the Haas. 27.546 on the medium compound tires. We're halfway through qualifying. Ooh, that's a big spin. Does get things slowed down. And he's now trying to get out of the way, and he does so. Gotta be careful.
Nice to see. Yeah, was really tight, but after that lap, it seems like he wanted to push a little bit more, and the grip was not there on heavy. Now, just a couple of yellow flags there on the map as drivers trying to leave others by. We have MKV improving half a second with those softs, a little bit of slipstream from Ricky Chardo. They know each other shortly from Season 2. Now, MKV into Sector 3, as we were saying. Braking there for the chicane. Upshifting to 4th gear. Shortest run to the line, it's 26.7, improving almost 7 cents, and it jumps into P4.
Rhapsody pushing right now on a flyer. He's just coming, and look at this. Lucas Yan primed and ready to go for a slipstream. Nice toe coming down into Stowe. Ooh, he just dances that front right off the line there, and he's very fortunate to keep it just where it needs to be, Alex, and he'll be able to now come through. Where does it land him? Good for 4th position.
Ooh, that 3rd sector cost him a little bit. He went wide on the chicane, and then he compromised his run to the line after that. So he will not be happy, even though if it's an improvement. Sorry. Now I think he will be giving back the slipstream to his teammate, as he's still very close and keeping a little bit the pace there to be ahead and not giving him dirty air. We'll see if they do it again as Pablo Netes jumps into P5 with those softs in that Alpine.
Yeah, Rez just ahead of him, pushing into 3rd. The Australian will be thrilled about that time, and he is really looking to have some good luck today. His teammate Siffy, a 26.467 from him. Solid run coming out of both McLarens. Separation on this grid looking very tight from 1st down to, well, when we look at it all the way to 16th position, it is 1.2, and you have CJOS there on the medium compound tires ahead of Maxim B. And, well.
Now, Abox jumping into P16.
There's Gabox. Very nice. 27.367, and he gets himself within 2nd range as well. Batista Mateo now pushing.
He's been pushing a lot with the mediums. Now he's on the softs. He's on the softs now, but yeah, he did a couple of laps there with the mediums to set a couple of laps there with that compound. Now with the softs improving a lot of time after sector, so we'll see how much he can improve further. Now in P19, I think he can jump around P10, but we'll see.
Out of club now. Go across the line. 26.993.0928 is where he improves. A very good run to finish things for him. Ricky Ciardo, the only driver yet to get a time on the board on an outlap.
Look at that gap between. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, last week Ricky Ciardo, not the best drive he wanted in his return to the MRL, where he had really tempted fate on some slick conditions with some wet tires, where the majority of the grid was trying to see if the dries were the best tire. And I think that Ricky Ciardo, he bet wrong. He had a wet setup as well. A lot of the drivers in the Tier 1 Americas the last week getting caught out by wet weather in Suzuka with those dry tires.
Sure, yeah, he explained that to me as well. He was with a wet setup that didn't work in wet conditions. It was weird for him. Now he'll try to be, well, to do better today. Yeah, as Batista Mateo has a spin out of cups, he recovered. It's a 360 for him, and now he's on P14. We'll see if he has time for another run and to improve even more that 26.9. But I was saying, look at the gap between P5 and P16. It's only 4 tenths.
Yeah, there is not a lot in it here. These guys are going to be neck and neck through this race. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Improving marginally after Sector 1. Only 11 milliseconds now. He has a car in front. I don't know if that will be costing him a little bit of dirty air. We'll see now on the exit of Cops. Really keeping it side on that Alfa Romeo. Beautiful livery, of course, for the Alfa Romeo. A little bit of dirty air there from Melee, I would say. Ooh, that Aston Martin costing a little bit of time probably to Jacob. Improves a little bit more on sector 2. Setting purple in our map. I don't think that's the case though. Now braking for Stowe a little bit. Turn 15 almost going wide there. Into the 100 meters to brake there for the pale chicane. Putting the extraction down on 4th gear. Holding that inside. What will be for him? He does... Is that the same lap time or not?
I think he did the same, yeah.
Well, that's consistency for him. But it's P13, he will not be that happy unless his strategy is to start out of the top 10. Other drivers now flying Melee on sector 1.
Jump to Ricky Ciardo quickly. He's aborted. I think he is getting primed and ready to go again here. Back to Melee. Pushing into Cops now. This can be such a tricky corner, especially in the opening of a race when you have that heavier fuel load. Yeah, gets Beckett's. Melee struggling a little bit through Chapel. He's not doing the best run right now. He hasn't found any improvement.
We'll see if we can get a couple of 10s there on sector 3. He is not improving.
Beckyb,
Now
excuse me, pushes 5th. He chained 2 runs.
That's a good one. Pablo Benitez having an amazing slipstream from the AlphaTauri of Johnny Masson there on the back straight. Now he's flying. I don't know if he's improving, but that, of course, gave him at least a 10th there for the Alpine driver. Now on P8, we'll see if he can improve that one, as after Jacob improved. I think Res as well did, but right now we'll see now Pablo Benitez jumping Res and Jacob there and jumping into P5, 26.6. He still has a minute. I don't know if he will be doing 2 runs though.
Beckyb flying 8th position for him on this timing tower. His championship rival Lucas Yan is on provisional pole and is on an outlap, so we'll have to see if we do see a shootout. You can see the top 5 positions separated by 3/10 right now, and well, it's a very tight margin for that top pole position, of course, as always here in this division.
Jay's been trying to finish a lap, I think, with Siffy. I think they had a little bit of contact there on last corner. Siffy's just in front, but I think that cost time for both of them. And now TJ Spin will be having a lot of dirty air on this last run. I don't think he will be improving that lap time. Siffy has more fresh air, but we'll see if he's improving out of sector 1, because that entry to the lap was not optimal at all, but if still he's improving.
One thing I want to take note of here, Beckyb into the pit lane and validating his final run. He is not going to be happy, and he is not going to have time to get out and get another run in. Surely, of course, there isn't enough time. He has caught the checkered flag, and this is massive for Lucas Yan. Microlander pushing with a good improvement in hand. He could be very well flying for pole here in his full-time Ferrari debut.
Bautista Matteo into P10. Now Microlander sector 3, holding the inside there. Now we'll see what the Ferrari does. Oh!
Microlander, provisional pole, 26093. Lucas Yan, does he have an answer? He's coming out of Chapel now, and you can see in front of him here, Rhapsody is primed and ready to go, but is he... Oh, is he going to get enough here coming into Stowe? He pushes off to the left-hand side.
Oof, that's very close.
Siffy jumps him, 26267.
I think Lucas can jump it if he doesn't invalidate. Ooh, that he jumped a little bit on that curve. We'll see if that costs him.
He
Oh,
doesn't get him. He gets Siffy, but he isn't quick enough to get Microlander, and so there is the Ferrari ahead of the Mercedes here in Silverstone. The Mercedes today having a 1-2 finish in the Tier 3 division, the Americas Tier 1. Not quite on pole like Carbon Racer earlier today.
he was really, really close to that one. I think that Sector 3 cost him a little bit. He jumped a little bit into the curve on the inside. The car bounced back into the track, of course, but I think he lost a little bit of momentum there and wasn't enough to catch Microlander on his debut as a full-time driver.
Very, very good stuff coming out of the Brit there. 26.0934 pole position in the Ferrari. Microlander says hello to the full-time drive. Lucas Yan, the Mercedes, the Brazilian, a 26.137, 0.044. The separation less than a tenth, well, half a tenth between him and his rival on the front row this evening, Siffy, in the McLaren, 26.267, 0.174. TJ Spin in fourth. Pablo Benitez rounding out our top five. Beckyb, championship defender, currently 10th position, not having the qualifying he wanted to have. Ricky Ciardo failing to get a lap on the board there today in Silverstone for his home race. But we are going to be jumping in to now 26 laps. We've been told that we're going to be getting some rain towards the tail end of it. So we'll have to see how that pays off. And we'll just have to see how these racers navigate the first stint of the race. It is nice and, well, we're getting rain. It certainly doesn't look like it's coming anytime in the few minutes. It is sun shining, not a lot of cloud in the sky here around Silverstone. Of course, my name is Stryfium, here from Canada. Joining me is Mr. Alex Bido, all the way in Spain. We have a fantastic race about to unfold here. So tell your friends, tell your family that we have Misfits Racing League action happening on Twitch. Greatly appreciate anybody that can help us out in sharing the stream and spreading the good word, as we call it, of League Racing.
Amazing qualifying we saw there. 44 milliseconds were the difference, and I was watching the sectors between both drivers on the front row, Microlander and Lucas Yan. First sector, 1/10 faster was the Mercedes. On second sector, it was not even a tenth of difference for Microlander. He got the better sector there. And then on third sector was Microlander 1/10 faster than Lucas Yan. So the difference, let's say, it's on the second sector. One wins the 10th on the first one, on the first sector. The other wins the 10th on the third sector, and the second sector is really equal. But Microlander took the step to be on pole position for today.
A very good lineup here. Microlander, Lucas Yan, Siffy, our top three. We have TJ Spin, Pablo Benitez, 4-5. Tholtz is on the grid in 6th, Rez in 7th. Right between the two Alfa Romeos. And Jacob right behind him, of course. Rhapsody in 9th. Beckyb, our reigning Tier 1 champion, now second in the standings, 10 points behind Lucas Yan. Beckyb will be happy Lucas Yan has to deal with Microlander while he can potentially cut through the grid. Rhapsody, however, will have one job in front of Beckyb, and that is to play defensive gunner and see if he can maybe hold up Williams. We have Batista Mateo in the other Williams on the mediums, alternate strategy right behind, and that might be interesting to see both Williams pushing through the grid. MKB, 12th position. Johnny Moosen, Gabux, 13-14. Sales in 15th. We have Maxim B, 16th for Red Bull. B-Man, 17th position for him, and then we have Melee, 18th. Sejoss behind him with Ricky Ciardo bringing out the rear end of the grid for Alpine.
So I told you probably soft to mediums was the best strategy even outside of the top 10. But it doesn't seem like these drivers think the same. Probably I could be wrong.
One driver in the Tier 3 today did that, and I do believe it was Wavy.
But of course, mediums, it's an interesting strategy. As we said, we have rain at the end, so probably stretching those mediums to the rain is a possible thing on the mind of these drivers, as Ricky Ciardo is just approaching the grid, his last spot there, and will be starting soon.
Microlander, Lucas Yan, Siffy, our top 3 here coming out of qualifying. Welcome to Silverstone, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to go racing. It is time. As the final car approaches the grid, the engines are revving. It is 4, 5 red lights here in Great Britain, and the cars are away. We are racing, and look at the launch coming out of that McLaren. Siffy already very tight to Lucas Yan, looking for a way through. Nothing doing just yet. Pablo Benitez and Tholtz tight as we come into turn 3. No major exchanges. Rhapsody under fire. Beckyb. Beckyb B. Oh, does he get through safe? Beckyb B's into 5th position, ladies and gentlemen. He managed to avoid so much of that incident coming through the loop. Lucas Yan is on notice. Ladies and gentlemen, the Williams is going to be laughing his Oh my God, there's been big issues coming through Luffield. 2 cars spun in synchronization there.
Jacob and MKV, I think they touched the inside side pod, and now they spawn at the same time there in Duffield. It was really interesting to see, because I was on board with the car in front. Right now, a lot of action. Lucas Yan is still keeping with Microlander. J-spin after that incident with Siffy. A little bit of gap outside DRS at the moment. Tholtz is in 4th position, and Beckyb with an amazing start up into P5. Maxime, the first of the medium runners, splitting both McLarens.
Ricky Ciardo with a little bit of damage on the front left wing right now. Not going to be happy in that car right now. And I'm not sure what happened in all that commotion at the start of the race. We're going to see drivers entering the pit lane right now. MKB around. Oh, he's on the inside now as we come through the Vale chicane into club. He is going to look and hold this position. 16th right now. It's softs versus mediums. Jacob really falling through the order. Rhapsody, Pablo Benitez in the same boat on their starting softs as B-Man in Rhapsody exchange. Rhapsody pushing through into 13th, trying to make up some ground.
Rhapsody having a bad start as well. He was starting P9, now dropping 4th places. As Pablo Benitez is really close to B-Man, he will not try the move there. Meanwhile, J-spin was closing that gap to Lucas Yan. Really important to do that, because DRS is really powerful on this track.
If TJ is able to really hold Lucas Yan and Tholtz, let's say something happens here, Beckyb B pushing Tholtz, he knows he has a train to catch. And I mean that literally, because we are about to enter lap 3. Tholtz nearly 2 seconds on the rear of what is the fight for the race win. And Beckyb B needs one of those here tonight, especially when Lucas Yan is currently running 2nd.
Yeah, exactly. But even though I think this is a good place for Beckyb B, of course he needs to overtake Tholtz, but considering he started on P10, this is a very good one. Maxime has, by the way, overtook one of the McLaren, now ahead of both of them instead of splitting them.
Yeah, Maxime B having one heck of a start, up 10 positions according to the timing tower. We look on, of course, Tholtz under fire. He's got Beckyb B so close to him right now. Look at that gap, 2 seconds. This is going to be absolutely critical for Beckyb B to make it through. He's going to have the DRS on the rear wing come wide open now. Look at this run as we come down Wellington. Microlander is holding things off. Tholtz just holding his ground on that outside as Rez pushes through for an exchange between the McLarens.
Looks like Siffy doesn't have the pace or the same pace as Rez. He was dropping a lot. I don't know if he had damage after that contact that he had on lap 1 after spinning on turn 4, but we'll have to see later if it changes that front wing. Doesn't seem like it will be major. Oh, Beckyb having a big snap after that tier kicking on Cops, and he had to correct it going wide, and that's really dangerous on that section. And right now he's really close. He has the DRS as well that will be taking advantage of. Now Tholtz really vulnerable. Look at that overtake, easy as you like. Lucas Yan as well, really close. He won't try it now on Microlander.
Gabox Siffy right now, very wide wheel-to-wheel exchange here. Siffy tight on that inside, holding everything he can. Gabox looking back for a switchback, but it's not happening yet. Siffy with a good exit. 8th position right now. That McLaren anchor is being dropped as Rez fights with Maxime B. Maxime B 2.3 on the medium compound tires on the rear of the train that Beckyb now needs to try and connect. 2 seconds the gap to him and TJ. Pablo Benitez steps in it with 3 seconds, Alex.
If Beckyb can close that gap, it's just other world because that's really difficult. As you can see, the DRS is powerful. Yellow flag, by the way. It's Pablo Benitez. He had a spin on the traction zone out of entry, and that's really difficult.
That's a very difficult position to find yourself in. Most definitely when you're looking the wrong way. Right now, Microlander has Lucas Yan, TJ Spin looking up his rear end, and if these guys really get engaged in any kind of battling, Beckyb will be happy for it.
Surely he will. Not a good exit for TJ Spin, but good one for Lucas. He will take it. He will take it now out of the slipstream up into P1. Microlander drops one. He doesn't want to lose time on this battle. He just wants to stay there at the back of Lucas Yan as Rez and Maxime exchange position. Rez is flying with those softs.
Siffy, Gabux G just behind. We saw them exchange just narrowly as Gabux G. Johnny pushing through right now. He gets in front in the Alpha Tauris, mug off the McLaren for 8 and 9.
Merely losing the braking point there a little bit. He tapped the rear of that McLaren, and the McLaren had to tap the rear of Johnny Masson. Doesn't seem like any version of front wing coming there. Sails.
Oh, that is not good. I was on board with him. Not on board. We were in the... Well, we jumped into a camera where he was supposed to come out the other side of the turn, and he didn't come out there, Alex.
He really went wide on the entry, and then he tried to correct it going into the inside field, but that much difference between... It's a lot of force for the car to re-navigate on that turn one. If you put that much steering wheel input, let's say, turn too much on a very high speed, not that much grip, and that's what happens. Now the mistake will cost him a lot of time as we jump again into the leaders, because Microlander can probably retake that lead that he lost the lap before.
Lucas, oh, here we go, as you said it. TJ, he wants to get involved here. Lucas, what an exit, holding Microlander there. Meanwhile, Beckyb 2.6. Beckyb rubbing his hands together, hoping this action really gets heated between these front 3 runners. Microlander at 29.208, running that fastest lap.
In it right now, Lucas Yan needs to keep that one. He doesn't want to lose time. They are gaining time on Beckyb. So this is perfect for Lucas Yan. He only needs to keep it. And then fighting till the end.
TJ Spin, I think he's going to push here on Lucas. Does he have anything for him in Brooklands? We have a beautiful view, but nothing's being sent just yet. None of these drivers want to make too many mistakes. TJ a little bit wide out through Luffield there as Lucas continues to hunt him down. A beautiful shot this is, but that Aston Martin looking like he is on the charge between this Mercedes and Ferrari. Does he slot himself in there into this fight?
TJ Spin, I've been on board with him. He does a really weird entry to that SS. He really opens the corner a lot on the entry, and he's losing time on the exit, as you can see. Lucas Yan, he doesn't want to retake the lead because he thought if he was putting the car there, they were gonna lose time. So that's a good decision, just keeping it on the train and just waiting for another lap while that battery is just charging and charging.
Melee on the rear of Siffy. Rez is into the pit lane.
That's early.
That is early, yeah, and we'll have to see where he lands as a result. Rhapsody comes in.
The last time I saw a driver going that early, he won a Grand Prix. And it wasn't tier 1. Now changing into the mediums, Rez. He will try the undercut. It's really powerful here if you don't have the DRS to take profit while you are on the train. So we'll see if he can take that gap down to Souls. I think it was the one who he had ahead, because he just overtook Maxime, I think. But now we'll see.
All about this fight for the win right now. Well, at the very least, we don't say win this early, but at the very least, the race lead. Microlander about half a second out of Lucas Yan's range here, but you look at TJ within that 2/10. Man, is he ever hunting. He really isn't utilizing much of this battery either. As you mentioned, he really loses time to Lucas coming through Maggots Beckett's Chapel. Got the DRS. Lucas now could come under fire.
Both holding stationary there on second place and third.
Biffy, melee. Sorry to interrupt you there, Alex. Biffy, really under fire from the other Aston Martin. Now Beckyb has come in.
That's good. That's good for him. That's what he needs. He needs to try something different. He can't stay there out with the leaders doing the same strategy. He, of course, needs to try something different. We'll see where Res comes, if he's close to Beckyb or not. And I was going to say, these AlphaTauris are doing an amazing job between each other because they are not fighting. Of course, they're teammates. And it seems like Johnny Mason had more pace, so Gabriel just let him by a little bit. And Johnny Mason now trying to carry all that train that they have behind from Johnny Mason to MKV.
Biffy on these softs, wanting to really kind of push through, get some position back from these guys. Can't take too many risks. A bit of a snap out. Microlander, oh, that's not what you want to do leading a race, is it? 3 seconds awarded to the Ferrari.
TJ Spin is gonna try it. He's gonna try it on both. Oh, I can't. Oh, that was close. That was really close to get both of them.
Well, he's not done. He's taken Lucas.
But Lucas
he's
is going
looking
into
at
the
Microlander. Lucas into the pit lane, doesn't want to fight it. DJ Spin really putting some pressure on. Oh, he's had a snap off the curb and coming through club. Gonna lose a ton of time there.
Wow, that was really, really good one. That was really, really good one. Good save from him. Good battle. Now Lucas, and we'll see where he lands because he was having, of course, an eye on Beckyb. He saw he pitted. He needed to respond to that, to answer that. So we'll see which is the gap. I think it was 3 seconds almost before the pit stop.
Lucas.
See if he, in the inside of Johnny Mason.
This has really worked out for Becky. Look at this. 1.2 with the ERS and utilization to try and hunt him down. He knows he's got the temperature in the tires to maybe catch him up.
Sorry, but Stiffy and Johnny Mason side by side on cops. They are holding it. Johnny Mason just defended that. It seemed impossible. But he kept it on the inside as Microlander drops to TJ Spin. I think now he has to pit. Oh yes, he will. TJ Spin holding there, staying out. But Microlander answers the strategy of Lucas Yan, but as you said, Beckyb really well gained time.
B-Man, MKB. Oh, there's contact. There goes MKB round. B-Man waves goodbye as he slides out and spins out right in front of him. That was very interesting.
Took a penalty as well, B-Man there on that exchange. As Microlander pits, he will be rejoining just side by side. Oh, just ahead.
That is crucial for Microlander. Absolutely crucial. Now, if they fight, Beckyb will be all over it.
Beckyb was 1.6 at one moment on that lap. Lucas Yan gained 4 tenths on Beckyb, but now Microlander seems like he's slowing down a little bit. Lucas, probably Becky can catch that DRS, or probably that's what Microlander wants. Sorry. We'll see what TJ does because he's right now on stall, and let's see what he decides. Yes, he's going for it. He's pitting. He's spinning from the lead. We'll see where he comes. They're battling a little bit there behind Microlander and Lucas. So this is gonna be really, really interesting because Microlander didn't lose that much time. Well, in fact, he didn't lose time. He's still ahead of Lucas. We'll see how much time though, because Lucas was really, really close. Beckyb can't close that gap, and that's really, really. Oh, I don't know which word to use, but he's struggling a little bit. It seems there on the back.
Yeah, I don't disagree either. Gabux, Johnny Moosin. We saw Gabux coming through Vale get a little bit shaky on the exit of Stowe. Melee sitting here in the Aston Martin in this little train on the rear of Gabux G. Maxim B 3.9 out in front. We got an issue. What's happened? CEST has spun. That is just outside of the pit entry.
Micron and Lucas and exchanging on Brooklands. The Mercedes just in front. Took the inside and he holds into that inside line. He squeezed a little bit Microlander then, enough to get that place. TJ Spin just rejoining ahead of Beckyb, but Beckyb now has the DRS, and that's a good thing for him. He needs to play smart to catch the two guys in front, because right now it seems like an easy win for Lucas Yan with that penalty for Microlander.
Well, I think Microlander is going to take back that position right now with the charge on the battery, the DRS wide open, Lucas Yan with no defensive capability yet. Now Microlander will potentially bring himself within a DRS range of Sales, but look at this, Lucas Yan fighting back to that inside he looks, but nothing yet. No trigger pull coming from the Mercedes.
He doesn't need to risk it right now. He has everything on his hands, even though setting fastest lap after getting overtaken. He's looking there, but I think it's more like trying to call the engine or something, because he can't dive there. He doesn't want to lose time. But TJ Spin is on DRS.
Yeah, this isn't good. This is a big train now. Beckyb is in. Microlander is going to hold Lucas tight here. Nobody's going far. Sales, however, is a critical piece to this puzzle. 1.2 seconds for Lucas Yan is the separation between him and Sales. I don't believe he's going to have DRS. Well, he might. He is going to have DRS coming down Hanger.
Yes, he will. Beckyb is struggling, and I see why. It's because he's really, really low on battery. He tried to push all his battery on those crucial laps after pitting, but now he doesn't want anything. Microlander really close. I think he lost almost a car there, or what?
No, he's okay. He's okay. He's just holding things nice and patiently on the rear of Lucas. Beckyb, hopefully within this train, will be able to conserve and get some of that battery you mentioned that he lost back.
Still keeping it on that window, but a bad exit there probably can cost him. Fastest lap right now for TJ Spin. And Beckyb, seems like in a matter of time he will be out of that window. But Sales can save. Oh, Lucas Yan going wide. Microlander trying to take that place on the outside now, trying the switch back. Lucas Yan holding at the moment, but he had to go wide on Village, because it seems like he was trying to overtake Sales, or he lost his braking point.
Well, all of this fighting bring Beckyb ever so closer in the fight. Bautista Mateo, Sales, Lucas Yan, Microlander, TJ Spin. What a train it is. And the tire differential really playing a role here as well. Lucas Yan, he's going to try to navigate through on Sales, maybe give himself some separation to Microlander. It's going to be critical that he does that, but I think the odds of him doing that are going to be slim.
It's gonna be really, really close, and lap 13 out of 26. We're officially on the halfway point of the calendar of this season. Microlander really close on Lucas Yan really close on Sales. Is the Haas gonna try it? Oof, no, he's not. Lucas Yan now has to hold the grip on that has is of course inferior to the cars that he has behind. This spin really having to brake really early to not hit the back of Microlander. Lucas Yan having that traction. Look at the difference, Riff.
Yeah, there's not a lot that he can do against this Sales now. Holding. Look at this! There's contact! That's the Ferrari! That's Microlander! He's driven into the rear of the Haas! No way! No way! That is not how you want to have your race go. From a potential race lead. Oh my.
It was really difficult to see that, as Lucas Yan overtakes Battista Matteo and has 2 cars between him and his nearest rival, who has a penalty, I think, because he tried to avoid that contact with Microlander, I would say. But it seems like Sales on the outside, he didn't want to really block Lucas, as Lucas was already ahead. So I think the difference of momentum between Sales and Microlander was so big, big that happened. Really unfortunate. I don't know if that was avoidable, but that outside line doesn't have grip, so Sales lifting probably it was a little bit obvious, and Microlander didn't see that coming. I would say right now CEST overtaking Sales as Gavox spits into the softs. I would say 12 laps.
Here goes Beckyb. He's with Sales as well. He pushes through very neatly on the inside. Sales is still holding, but now Beckyb into 9th position, very neatly caught up to this train and conserving battery.
Yeah, he conserved a little bit of battery now as well, holding into that train, as you said. And that's really important. Microlander doesn't seem like he has damage, but we'll have to check later with that gap with Rhapsody how he's going. Really unfortunate for him right now.
Absolutely race critical, Alex, to mention Battista Matteo holding up TJ here. Look at TJ now. He is going to have to get some kind of position gain over Battista. Beckyb will be looking on, waiting for TJ to do so to really re-hitch the train. 14 lap old mediums for Battista Matteo, really planting himself in the way of these guys.
Really good teamwork. MKB was really close to Siffy. He didn't try it on Brooklands, but look at the difference of Ruben Luffield battling for 15th place. Right now, McLaren on the Red Bull. He will try it on Cubs, I would say. Yeah, he's trying it.
Okay.
There he goes on the inside.
Very neatly done.
Easier than expected. Easier than expected for him.
TJ
speed on the inside. Oh, that's
wheel
close.
To wheel, yeah, right now. Battista holding on. We have a yellow flag. That is Pablo Benitez. And that is just outside of Cops. Sure, what's going on for damage for him at the minute?
Yeah, he lost it there. Doesn't seem like damage. I think it's... Oh yeah, he has damage, of course. All the left part of that front wing missing. So you'll have surely to pit. TJ and Beckyb exchanging because they are both ahead of Battista Matteo. Battling with Sales, the Williams. He lost another one, 3 places on 2 corners.
Battista around the outside. Ooh, around through Brooklands now in Luffield. He says goodbye to Sales to get that position back. Very nicely done.
Beautiful move from the Williams. Now Beeman closing that gap to Melee, who's low on battery, but the Ferrari as well. So we'll see who takes that place. Still the top 4 drivers yet to pit. There goes Beeman into the outside. I thought he was going into the inside, but now he's trying the other way, all the way around. Melee is holding, but Beeman with a better exit, taking that P3 and now pitting.
Very interesting crossover there with B-Man. Sweeps around, gets the position straight into the pit lane.
Sales and Battista as well fitting, 60 kph. Really easy to speed on this pit lane, of course, in Silverstone. But now the difference between Lucas Yan and CEST, that was critical, thanks to Battista Matteo. Now Beckyb can hold there, but CEST is trying to close that gap to Lucas. It seems like he has more pace. Today has shown that he is able to push when he wants. So we'll see if he can really close that gap to Lucas Yan. A lot of difference on battery. He has a lot.
For one yellow, I think that maybe car is just exiting the pit lane.
That was Pablo Benitez being lapped, I think. Yes.
Up 17 out of 26, ladies and gentlemen. There has been many
Sorry.
battles unfolding
Even
on this.
Sifi, another one.
And just out in front. Yeah, very nice.
Very, very good one. Newsofs, he needs to take profit of them. Sifi really struggling all day, it seems. From the start on qualifying, he was doing really good, but now he's dropping on pace here. I don't really know why, probably because of damage, as I said before, but it doesn't seem, at least visually. So we'll have to see later after the race what happened to him, because he was really close up there with Res, and now down into P14 after pitting.
D-Man Sifi exchanging again. Melee into the pit lane.
Cavox overtaking Rhapsody. Cavox with those softs. I think he was the first driver to pit to the softs after MKV.
Pablo, 5 seconds for speeding into the pit lane, calling it quits. He has retired the car. Fortunate to see that in circumstances.
Yeah, he was already lapped. He tried something different, but of course when you're lapped, normally your chances are gone. Normally, not always. So it's the first retirement for today. No safety cars yet, Striff. You think we will see one? It's still 8 laps and a half to go.
Well, given how things have gone with us in Silverstone so far this week, my gut tells me no. But anything can happen. There's still time.
Maxime going to the pits, Johnny Masson as well. I thought they were staying out because of the rain, but it seems like their strategy was to extend, and probably optimize the stint of the softs. Lucas Yan doing an awful chicane there, and that has put TJ into the DRS zone. Lucas Yan low on battery, TJ spin with more than 50%.
That's race critical to everybody that has any kind of opportunity to get positioned, and Beckyb be on the rear of TJ. Well, he doesn't have a penalty, Becky. So if he follows TJ tight with that penalty, he can very much net a position. But
Not only that, I think he needs
DRS as well.
Yeah, that's really, really important. He needs to stay on DRS. Not only that, but use TJ to catch Lucas. If TJ can overtake Lucas and Becky can put the car as well at the same place while they are overtaking the leader, well, he can take, of course, the net lead. So he really needs to be there when TJ makes the move so he can take profit of it.
Big time, big time. Couldn't agree more.
Lucas going wide on Cops.
Oh, he's under fire here. Very much so. Lucas potentially coming undone a little bit here on the 9-lap old mediums. Look at the run from TJ.
Lucas not even using battery to defend that. He knows.
Nothing he can do there.
We'll see if TJ can open that gap of 3 seconds. Will be really difficult here in Silverstone to do that with that DRS. But if Lucas Yan loses that DRS, probably we can see a different story. Oh, that's the fastest lap for TJ Spin on the 8th lap of that compound.
These guys are really operating at a very fast pace right now, 9.5 seconds out in front of Rez. And Lucas, second position now. TJ Spin potentially creating an issue for him where Beckyb can catch up. What a great race we're seeing here. Beckyb started this race in 10th. Made it to 5th inside of the first sector.
TJ Spin doing a really weird line. It's not the first time I've seen that. Not only on the entry of the SS, but of course as well on the entry of Love Field. We saw how deep he took that one to carry all the momentum to Cops. I think it's probably to defend from Lucas Yan, but I don't know if that's worthy. He knows better than me. He's still leading. Of course, he has that penalty. Beckyb only 6 tenths away from the net lead of this race. Lucas Yan seems like a pretty closed door.
And you love to see these type battles unfold. I imagine in the driver's seat, it's not where you want to be. You've been there. Some element of fun, and I imagine after 20 laps, it gets to be a little bit much. Pressure really building here.
Indeed, this is Spin. I think he did a little mistake there on the last sector, or Lucas Yan just nailed it because he gained almost a tenth and something more. Now closing that gap after recovering the battery. That's a very good strategy for him. He was ahead, he didn't have energy, he didn't want to lose anything, so he just, well, he didn't even defend that move from TC Spin, of course with the penalty they Aston Martin, but still, he used that to recharge all the battery. He has been like 3 laps without touching that ERS, and now he's up into 60%. Beckyb otherwise 30% for him. Suffering a little bit. He goes wide on cops. Beckyb is struggling a little bit on that grip on the front end. No warning probably for the Williams driver. They're still dangerous to go offline.
MKB tight with Rhapsody as we come out of cops right now. He's priming a potential move. This train in serious force on the rear of Gabux G for 8. Just behind the melee on the rear of Siffy. Microlander on the rear of Tholtz. We're going to look to this now. Wheel to wheel. Microlander pushing through into 5th, trying to fight back now. MKB on the rear of Rhapsody. Rhapsody looking for Gabux on the inside of Stowe. He's going to push through. Does this open the door for MKB? MKB looking now to the outside, now inside. Very intense coming into the chicane. It is a lunge coming out of the Red Bull. Fronts to rears, not enough coming out of MKB.
No, he's not gonna get it. Almost, he was trying it, but not enough. Maxime B closing the gap to Tolls and Microlander. Microlander has a penalty still, remember. And Maxime can take 2 places, but we'll see because those softs are working perfectly for some of these drivers. MKB is still close to Gabux. Gabux losing a little bit the rear there on traction. Now into entry. We'll see if he can take Rhapsody. They're still very close, not even using the battery now. Yes, Gabux ahead on the inside of Brooklands, still keeping the side by side, but now Maxime's trying to put the car on the outside of Laffield.
No, we have MKB here in the Red Bull, getting Rhapsody. B-Man is there, getting the front row seat to the action. Maxime B with Tholtz just further up the grid. Rhapsody getting MKB, the braking coming out of the Red Bull, nearly catching the Ferrari out of balance. That was very touch and go to say the least, and that could have been a car around.
Maxime B easy on the inside after the SS. Now Gabux under pressure because he has Rhapsody behind, but MKB and B-Man as well hungry with those softs. Seems like Rhapsody will try it on the... Oh! But more from Rhapsody. Gabux are still on the outside. Rhapsody leaves the space, and MKB is just switching. They're shuffling positions. Ahead on the Veiled chicane. Gabux getting mugged 2 places, and now 3 because B-Man is on the inside of last corner. A little bit of contact, still keeping it clean.
B-Man holding very, very tightly to Gabux for this final points paying position. MKB with Rhapsody. We move on to the front end where Lucas Yan still holding with TJ Spin. Beckyb within a second. Look at the run coming out of B-Man here. Surely Gabux G falls to the Ferrari. DRS wide open on the rear wing for both racers.
On the inside goes B-Man. But he takes that, yep, he took that warning, and that's a penalty for him on his name. Another one, I would say. He has 2, one from avoiding incident, I think, with MKB, and now this one. But Gabux takes pit's end still. He's holding on DRS. B-Man on the outside. Oh!
It's tight wheel to wheel through cops right now. B-Man around the outside. Does he hold this? Gabux G and him still coming through wheel to wheel into Maggots and Beckett's. B-Man through into 10th position. Back to Lucas and Beckyb within half a second now. The championship rivals. Microlander moving through on Rez.
MKV on Rhapsody on the same spot. Now into P8, but he has a penalty on his name.
Yeah, that's not what you want to have here in the end of a race. We're on lap 24 out of 26, ladies and gentlemen, and what a campaign it has been for these racers.
The battery is going to play a huge role at the end for Beckyb. Now yellow flag is sails is off, but it's lap 24. It's lap 24 already. Doesn't seem like a safety car can be sparked right now. Lucas Yan really close on TJ Spin at the exit of Brooklands, left field. That line from TJ Spin really unique, as Beckyb drops a couple of tenths behind those leaders. So he needs to push with the battery to catch again.
That's a very intense showdown between these top three here. We always talk about how everything wants to happen on track because you never know what penalties may be removable from TJ here.
Lucas can take it on track. He has a lot of battery. He has a lot of pace. He just needs to time it perfectly. He's not even trying it now because he knows he has just the upper hand of the DRS. He will try it on the inside. No, he's just looking and putting nervous his rival. Beckyb is there, and Beckyb is a specialist on taking profit of actions that you never know how they are going to end. He took 5 places on this start, and now he's up into P3 after starting on P10. Look where he is.
Having a stellar drive. Absolutely stellar drive.
Lucas putting the nose there on the loop, compromising his exits if it's taking the fastest lap with a 28.0 on the mediums.
Sitting on the rear of Johnny Mooson here. For the inside, he's going for it. The McLaren, Johnny. Ooh, it was very narrow there.
It's the same every lap. TJ Spin going wide and Lucas Yan putting the nose on left field, but it never works because TJ Spin has a very good exit out of turn 7. So we'll see when he can push. It's lap 25 and Lucas Yan has a lot of battery. We'll see if the exit out of Chapel is good enough to take that lead.
Here we go, B-Man on the rear of Rhapsody. Lucas Yan looking at TJ. Here we go on the inside now as we come up through into Stowe out of Hangar. Lucas Yan a changeover for the lead of this race. Yes, he will take that position from, of course, TJ Spin. Beckyb now will be looking to push through and catch up with Lucas Yan. He wants to fight for this race win. It is now beginning the final lap of the race here in Silverstone, Alex.
Lucas Yan pushing with that battery. TJ Spin, Beckyb wants TJ Spin to overtake again so he can take profit of that one. He needs to TJ to really put the car on Lucas Yan. So we will see if the Aston Martin takes that risk, but that will be very, very good for Becky's benefits. Now Lucas Yan going defensive a little bit on the straight, just trying to cut that slipstream.
Gonna be all or nothing for Beckyb through sector 2 here to stay tight with TJ as best as he can. B-Man wide coming through the loop. The rain is coming down, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see how this affects on the leaders. We'll see if Lucas Yan can expect this loss of grips on the S's. Last time we're coming here, we'll see if the Aston Martin can take anything. Beckyb dropping a little bit 7 cents behind Lucas Yan. Not opening DRS. It's this time for the Aston Martin. He has the DRS as well, utilizing that one. Is the last lap. Aston Martin on the outside of Stowe. Look at that straight film.
Oh, that's not good for TJ Spin. That was very close, very wide.
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lucas Yan is going to win the Silverstone race. He is going to win the British Grand Prix. Beckyb will finish right behind him in second. And the championship that was separated by 10 points is now separated by, well, 17 points. Very, very, very interesting race there.
Rhapsody took a penalty on the last lap with MKV. 3 seconds for extending track limits, so he won't be taking that place. Oh! both Alpha Charis getting those places. So it's P8 for Gabos, P9 for Johnny Masson, P10 for MKV, and P11 for Rhapsody.
Wow. What a shuffle. What a shakeup. We will potentially have some interviews here in a moment with some of our podium finishers. My oh my, that was an interesting race, and finally at the end of it, the rain decides that it will come down. Luciardo in the Alpine will be the last driver to come across the line in 17th position. 16th, excuse me, as he passes the DNF car of Siffy. But Lucas Yan, what a drive. What a drive.
He had the pace, no mistakes from him. Literally no mistakes. I think the only thing that was a little bit mistake, or not even his mistake, was that last lap contact. Sorry. But he's just doing perfectly. Maxim driver of the day, because he finished P5, I think it was 1/10.5 from rest, almost taking it there into the line. One more lap and probably he will take it. But it's a very good performance for the Canadian.
Go. There's the final classification. Lucas Yan with the race win from second on this grid. Beckyb finishing right behind his rival. 10th position where Beckyb started this race, and we'll potentially talk to him in a moment. TJ Spin 4th to 3rd. Rez 7th to 4th. It was a very, very big position haul for, as you mentioned, 5th position. Him, the Canadian. Johnny Moosen, 13th to 9th. Saw Tholtz there. Michael Lander in his debut started on pole. Man, what an upset for him in the end.
His home Grand Prix. I know how that feels.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, you do.
6th place, penalty as well. He was leading this race, and he took that penalty when leading. Still conserving some points after that incident. He didn't have to repair any damage. That was lucky, let's say. And now he recovered to P6, so there it's the pace shown for the grid driver.
Well, we are going to have interviews, just checking to see who exactly we are going to have join us. I do believe we'll have Becky as usual when he comes through into the podium positions, and I'll just double check to see if we have Lucas, our 3rd position finisher, not case to come in for interviews, either of them, but we will speak to. Alrighty, there we have it. Mr. Beckyb joining us in the commentary booth after a very, very eventful British Grand Prix, to say the least, most especially for yourself. Starting this one, not on the best foot. You coming in 10 points on the rear of Lucas Yan after a changeover, and, well, we didn't get to speak to you last week after the unfortunate Japanese Grand Prix. But, of course, with the unfortunate DSQ that occurred there, little bit of an issue. 10 points for Lucas. You now come into this race on the back foot, 10th position in the qualifying after an unfortunate final lap. How are you feeling to come through and still get it on the podium? I have to ask. It was a thrilling start to the race. Just wild stuff. Just talk us through.
Yeah, definitely was, about the best I could have done, I think. I just think Lucas and TJ's race pace was probably just a little bit out of reach. I was just having to push that a little bit harder. I was happy to stick with them, though, and keep it on the podium. Lap 1 was definitely eventful, that's for sure. It was a similar lap 1 to what I had in Japan. I think I made up 8 positions or something last week. However, didn't make it through Sector 2, as we all saw. However, thankfully was able to do it this week, so I was happy about that. Yeah, pretty unfortunate in qualifying. Definitely had the pace on my last run for probably P4. However, invalidated, unfortunately. So, yeah, did what I could from where I was, and I knew my qualifying pace was going to be rough there around Silverstone. It always is. But I think my race pace definitely made up for it.
Yeah, it's a very, very tight championship, and you mentioned it very early on. You said that this season's Tier 1 was going to be a different animal, but you've handled it very well, taming the beast that is this division this season. Of course, you're coming through, you're still taking podiums. Next week, Baku. It's Azerbaijan, a circuit some love, some hate, but it's a circuit that, if I remember correctly, you don't mind it too much. So how are you looking for that? And correct me if I'm wrong about Baku, but it is next for round 8.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it. I haven't done a lot of driving on this game on it, but I know in the past I was, pretty solid in time trial around there, and I think we know that I'm, quite partial to street circuits. So I think I'll definitely enjoy that one. And hopefully I can, do one better and hopefully get P1 next week.
With the championship lead extending with Lucas Yan over yourself, do you have any major concerns with the championship, or is it just a question of really kind of buckling down, getting into some circuits that you're more comfortable with?
As of right now, don't really have too many concerns. I just need to keep, maximizing my my potential. Not qualifying like I did today, just so I can give myself a better chance and not have to work so hard in the race like I did today. Also, the second half of the season, I think our tracks I think I'm more solid at. So definitely looking forward to that. But, honestly, it's still all up in the air. We just had Micro join the league full time. He's going to be up there fighting for the podium, fighting for race wins. We saw his pace today. Unfortunate for him with the spin. But, yeah, I think the championship's just going to get even more interesting and even closer going down the line here.
Well, you definitely seem like you're excited and prepared for it, and of course we'll just have to see how things go for you next week in Baku. I wish you the best of luck. Bido, do you have anything for Beckyb tonight?
Just congratulations, because even though the pace didn't seem to be there to win, it was still a really, really close call, and I almost got it there on the end. So just huge congratulations, sorry.
Gracias. Que tengan buena noche, Bido.
Well, thank you very much, Beckyb, for taking the time to interview, and we'll have to see you next week in Baku, fighting hard as always, all right?
All right. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks, Beckyb. All right, everybody. That is going to wrap us up for our America's Tier 1 racing action. That was a thrilling race, I have to say. The rain coming in just at the end. I think, Bido, you mentioned it earlier. If we had seen a safety car, we might have just seen that rain come to play a little bit more so than it did. We didn't see any changeover of tires, but we did see a changeover of some great, great battling in today's race. That's going to be it for us. That's going to be it for me. Bido, do you have any closing statements before we close things out for tonight, before Tier 2 racing?
Just never miss Americas, because racing is always there on point. We saw it today, we saw it yesterday, and we saw it last week and the other week, because that's what MRL is, just racing. So yes, see you next time.
Take care, everybody, and have a great, great night. We will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 8 p.m. for those of you in the UK and 9 p.m. for those of you in Central Europe. We are going to now head on out with a raid and the outro as usual, and we hope you'll join us as great night of racing. We're going to head on over and say hello to one of our podium finishers. We just spoke to him, Mr. Beckyb.